I'm Richard Porter.
I'm Jonny Smith.
And this is Smith and Sniff, a podcast in which two friends talk about cars and many other things.
Owner of a lonely heart. Da, 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 da. I watched the music video to that. Did you see it? I DM'd you it. It was on.
I just saw that. Yeah.
It was really embarrassing.
You see now,
it felt like teachers doing something for a school panto that they weren't really comfortable with. Owner of a lonely heart. Da, da, da. They're wearing clothes that they definitely didn't choose. There's that feeling of, have you ever been dressed for a situation and not really by you, and you've just got to go with it?
Yes.
And you were like, oh, this is not really me. Oh, maybe I'm living a lie. I have.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, isn't it?
Yes, and you go, oh, I don't really like these trousers, but the people around you are going, that's fine. And some professional person's put you in those trousers, so they just go, yeah, you look great. And just go, oh, do I though?
I bought some trousers last year that I wasn't sure about, but I bought them because they were exactly the kind of trousers I wouldn't normally choose.
Ah, interesting. Yeah.
And I tried them on and I thought, actually, these are okay. And my wife was like, ooh, are they? You sure about that? And I was like, I think so. She's like, maybe with those shoes. Yeah. But I've never worn them since. Every time I put them on, I go, it feels like I'm putting on someone else's trousers. They're just so, I don't know why.
It's good that you've gone with a bold decision trouser.
Yeah, I mean, they're not like sort of zany. They're not like a bloke I saw at a bus stop the other day who was wearing an incredible pair of trousers where the legs were different colours. One was like a sort of pastely, salmony pink, and one was a pastely blue. And they were high as well. They were ankle shower trousers. They were waders. It was very fashion forward, I imagine. But it did look a bit strange. These aren't the trousers I've got. They're just a pair of green trousers.
I actually need to buy trousers because a lot of mine since last year, I've got a little larger. Most of my trousers don't really fit, and for the first time in my life, I feel a bit trouser conscious. You know what it's like? It's a bit like when you test a car that is not your personality and not the kind of car that you would ever really buy or dream of buying, and you look at yourself in one of those mirrored shop fronts or something, and you go, "Ooh, do I look like a bit of a flute?" You know, I think there's a bit of that about it. But I like it when people just rock things with conviction. They just go, "Yeah, it's not. I've never done this before, but who cares? It's just rock and roll." What car would you be completely out of place in? Oh, if I said, "Have one of these for a year, and do everything with it."
I don't know. It's funny, actually. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was driving my Range Rover, and I thought, it's funny, I haven't been called a prick while I've been driving this yet.
Well, I think I've texted you a few times.
Well, I know you have, but that doesn't count. I've been by an actual person in real life going, I thought, well, and I suppose I do drive it carefully. I do try and be extra careful not to be a knob, because I feel like people already think you're a knob in it. So, in a way, it's sort of...
Yeah.
Whereas the leeway, and not that I do, I don't deliberately drive like an arse, but the leeway that you get in my Defender, for example, which everyone seems to like, means that it doesn't rage people up. But I think there are certain cars that people just go, true, but in terms, true. I just think it doesn't. I don't feel sort of completely self-conscious and uncomfortable in the Range Rover. I just was thinking, I bet I'll get called a prick soon in this just for having it.
Have you palmed it yet?
I palm it all the time. It's the ultimate palm.
Oh, is it? You've been roboting everywhere.
Oh my God. I never not palm it, because the steering's quite light and the wheel is big.
Yeah. We should totally have a palming competition.
I will take you all on.
It's
such a palming car.
What is peak palm car? It's got to be something overly assisted, hasn't it? And there's a few of those out there.
Original Jeep Cherokee.
Oh, was it so light?
Incredibly light steering. I once saw TV's Quentin Willson getting one of those into a very tight parking spot entirely with the palm. It was majestic to behold.
Did it look like he was trying to conjure a spell at the dashboard? You know what I mean?
He was fending off a cloud of wasps that were coming out of the instrument.
but
with the power of his mind. Go back.
And was it? Is it 16 turns lock for lock? So if he gets into a tank slapper on the motorway, honestly, it just breaks all of your fingers while you're trying to just grip lift.
So yeah, I just remember because they had very over-assisted steering, I think, and sort of Jag XJs are quite good palm cars, aren't they?
Kim Palm Dashim. Yeah.
Okay, one of those. Or
do women palm? Do you ever see women palming?
I bet you do, but I'm trying to think.
I'd love to see a female palmer. I would.
Patsy Palmer.
Yeah, I'd love to see a Femi Palmer. I've not seen one, I don't think.
Well, I bet our friend Vicky Butler Henderson has palmed.
Well, she's had a few Range Rovers, and if
I'll
message her afterwards and just ask her if she's a palmer.
Yeah,
I love to put it in context because it might sound like I'm trying to sort of railroad her into some offensive anecdote.
Dupe her into low quality innuendo.
Yeah, you've done plenty of palming, haven't you, Vicky? Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I ever. I don't know. I must have done. I can't. I can't think. I mean, that's the thing. I sort of. It's like Quentin casts such a palming shadow over everybody else I've ever seen driving a car for his sheer elegance of palming that I just can't picture anyone else doing it.
Does he know how much you appreciated the palm? The palming action?
No, I don't think. I mean, I never openly admired his palm, but maybe he knew. Maybe he knew that it was attracting admiring glances for the sheer lack of any use of the prehensile parts of his hand.
I always want to know. I hope in my heart of hearts, when there's some furious palming going on, I just envisage the power steering top-up bottle just frothing like someone's just stuck a vitamin C Barocca in there, and it's just absolutely just frothing it. It's going, stop going left, then right, then left, then right, really quickly. Can you just stop it? I can't cope.
A fizzing power steering fluid bottle.
It is, isn't it? What's that old school hangover cure? The horrible tablet. Oh gosh.
Oh, Alka-Seltzer.
Alka-Seltzer. Yeah. I've only ever tried one of those once. I threw it straight back up. It looked like I was having a fit in the garden. Yeah, very foamy.
Yeah, very foamy. Yeah.
I don't even know if they work.
Well, they feel like they might, don't they? They're sort of revolting enough to feel like they must do. Otherwise, what's the point?
Well, quite.
I don't know.
Spots.
After last week's podcast, in which we talked about death cars and cockroach cars and all sorts, we've had
spec.
A remarkable response. Many messages and emails, and people sharing their death spec cars or their cockroach cars, and obviously this is lots of pictures which of course don't really work on a podcast, but I did just want to say thanks to everyone for sharing some of their wonderful cars and things they've bought, stories of buying amazing cars with incredibly low mileages on because of the dead owner.
I feel like it's one of those things where I probably should have kept it to myself, because it's an incredible way of shopping for unmolested cars of an average spec. I do like it. It's a good recipe, right? It works. I should have written like a Jamie Oliver style recipe book for this.
I was going to say you could have
been the Jamie Oliver of second-hand worthless cars. I don't know how that would pan out.
I can't see a sort of career trajectory based on that, but it's worth a try. Yeah. I mean, someone's got to do. Well, I say that, but the response that we got was actually pretty stonking. I've got a few of them here. I'll just give you a flavour of what we got. Michael Fletcher sent us pictures of his 1994 Honda Civic 1.5 LSI.
Oh, love sex intelligence.
miles on it. Love sex intelligence.
Just reminds me of the Shaman track every time.
So that's that 90s era Civic, back when Hondas used to be quite good looking.
Yes.
54,000 miles auto, and the problem with these deceased spec cars is that they do often come with a slightly sad tale. This one, the seller got the rear archwork done while his dad was in hospital as a surprise for him. But the sad thing is his dad never made it out of hospital.
Oh.
And then Michael got the car. He says it had a tweed interior of which the driver's seat smelt something like the men's lab at 7:30 in the morning on the second day of a Santa Pod race weekend. Painting pictures with words. But then he paid 550 quid for it, but then he put a K20 engine out of a Civic Type R and a 6-speed manual in it with a quote.
Seriously?
Yeah. And then sold it for $8,000 4 years later.
Oh my gosh, it's gone from being sort of having sort of pissy death on the driver's seat to being a quaif. Wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, Michael, you've broken the rules here. I think true deceased spec, you keep it absolutely stock as a sort of memorial to the late former owner. But still, I admire the fact that he sent some pictures and it starts off as, just a very ordinary little silver Civic. And then by the time he's finished with it, it's got full Tokyo Night Racer look going on, square front number plate, the lot.
Oh, that's really... I can't stop chuckling because I know about those toilets. And
I was going to say, I've never been to a race weekend at Santa Pod. Your laugh says that you have.
And, I remember when when we were racing there, and it was my job to empty the cassette toilet from the motorhome, and I went in there it was on a Friday night at about 11:30. The heat in the toilet was the first thing that struck me. It felt like it was over 30 degrees C, and you're like, but nobody heats a toilet like this. So you think, where all this energy, where's it coming from? And then the second thing was, I pulled my scarf. I did the usual thing. I pulled the scarf right over my nose, COVID spec, but prior to COVID, and sprayed lots of. It was Brute. All on the scarf, so all I could smell was a male fragrance, an attractive one. And as I was tipping this thing into the drain, someone in a few cubicles away just did the most awful splattery, and someone else in one of the other cubicles on the other side just went, "You dirty bastard," like that. I was crying because the smell was terrible anyway, but I was sort of laughing at the same time, just trying to get the job done quickly without any splashback. Oh gosh, the whole scenario just really tickled me, and that's just rekindled those ever such fond memories.
I don't really know how to follow that.
I think I'm going to take you for a weekend to Santa Pod, and we'll do the full experience. I'm busy. There'll be lukewarm busy. Lager.
So busy.
No, you're not busy. It'll be absolutely fine. It'll be fantastic.
When are you thinking?
I'm thinking July, August. But we'll
busy.
See.
I'm away.
But for the full experience, what I'll do is, if you go, I'm not going in a tent. I'm not going in a tent. What I'll do is the usual scenario: is you borrow a van from work, and all you do is you just put some random bedding in the back. Crates of drinks.
Oh right, a van, not a camper van.
No, just an actual van. So when you shut the door, it's pitch dark forever.
Oh God.
That's the old school way of doing things. It's like, I'm not sleeping in a tent. I'll borrow the van from the gaffer at work. There's all these vans with just sort of towels hanging off the back door.
What are we going to watch? Is it? I imagine it's very much like Glyndebourne.
Yeah, I very much like you to watch an FIA event, because then you'd see some Top Fuel and some funny cars run. And I'd like you to watch the Street Eliminator, because that's my favourite category, the street legal ones.
Oh, okay.
And they're boundary pushing, they're boundary pushing. Oh, it'd be great, man. It'd be great. And I'll get you a festival hat as well. I could see you in a festival hat. You know, when you turn up at a festival and there just seems to be this unwritten rule that some people say, this is the perfect opportunity for me to wear a really shitty thing on my head.
Yeah.
What's that all about? I look like,
it's odd, isn't it?
I look like a jester on ketamine. Yeah, brilliant. What do you do what do you do during the day? Oh, I'm a software developer. Oh, great. But today I'm a strange jester.
I'm dressed like Mr. Claypole out of Rent-A-Ghost.
Yes, exactly.
On acid.
I look like a really, really dishevelled roadie from the Wonder Stuff. Brilliant.
Well, I'll look forward to that. Oh shit, I'm busy though. I can't do it.
It's okay. I think there's a couple of events coming up when you're not busy. Yeah.
I think you'll be surprised.
What do you think, listeners? What do you think, listeners? Should we have a little gathering?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Don't. I'll tell you what, we'll make a campfire and I'll bring a guitar that I can't play. Just for the full experience.
It's for the look.
I'll get the look. And also we'll park all our cars in a big circle and we'll talk about how they're all stage 3.
Of course.
Even though they're all clearly deceased spec, completely stock cars that we've just turned up in with drinks and with gin in the boot.
I'll come in the Range Rover, but I'll have the supercharger belt specially shortened for the weekend just to join in.
Are we going to make it a little bit more vocal?
Cretinous tuning attempts. Yeah, I'll just bang some holes in the exhaust pipe with a hammer and nail.
Can you disconnect the front wheel drive as well? So you're just constantly like chirping the back out on gravel.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
do
that would be awesome.
I got another email here from a chap called Andy who sent us pictures of his 1 litre Yaris colour collection, special edition. Now this is good. This is a cockcroach rather than a deceased spec. Snatched from under the scrap man's nose with an hour to go before he arrived. It cost £150. But here's where Andy has shown his true colours, because he then spent another £200 on 4 fresh Avon tyres and a new MOT. See, doing it right.
Just treating it right. That is treating it right.
Bought for our 17-year-old daughter who hates it and wants a Mini. So,
do you know what it is? I've heard
fair play. Good cockcroaching, Andy.
I've actually heard there's quite a lot of 17-year-old snobbery going on at the moment.
Oh yeah,
and I'm thinking,
I can believe it.
How can you be so demanding when it's clear that most of them have saved up no money towards the cause? What's that all about? I can just imagine the conversation if I said to my parents in 1996, right, when I pass my test, I'm fully expecting you to put, a Cavalier GSI on the drive, please. No, it would be newer than that. It would be, it'd be no more than 3 years old. So it'd be a 93 car. What would be a funky or executive 3-year-old car in 1996?
A Mercedes 300e. That's a bit much, isn't it?
That's a bit much. Come on, man.
A Peugeot 405 MI16.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, so can I have one of those, please? Their face, they would just laugh out loud. They would loll.
Yeah.
Before we said the term lol. That's what they'd be lolling. They'd just go, this is ridiculous. What are you thinking? But I hear it's all the thing. People, what's your first car? I want a top spec Audi A1. Like, well, you are aware that that's a 30-odd grand car for a start, and you're more than likely going to smear one side of it down your mate's wall when you're trying to reverse out of a house party.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I suppose it is that, but it's the conflict as a parent between that and screwing up something nice and new, which they inevitably will do, but then the feeling of like, well, you want to put your children into the safest thing possible, and that usually would mean the newest thing or the largest thing, but the two aren't necessary.
No, just get early 2000s Clio. Still really strong. Smart car, really, really strong. It is.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean,
I'm just not having it. I'm not having it. That's what puts all the insurance claims up, because first cars are suddenly now really executive, luxurious things that just get like.
I wonder whether they are. I'm sure they're not all, but I don't know. I don't really know. Oh, well, actually, I do know. Our next door neighbour's daughter got a car, but I think she saved up as well. But she got a Mini, but like an older Mini.
Of course,
I don't know any other young people.
I think we need to. I think we need to sing "Happy Birthday" to Mini for the Mini One.
It was last week, wasn't it?
Just turned 20.
20 years.
Wonder what the Mini One is going to get for its 21st birthday. What are they going to give it? What did you get for your 21st?
A stereo.
So did I. That's really.
Did you?
Yes, I bloody did. How weird. I got a new Pioneer head unit for the Granada. I was over there.
I got like a stereo for my student bedroom, like a
nice
a hi-fi.
Oh, sweet. Well, we both got audio. That was good.
Yeah. I did.
I've still got mine.
Sony. Have you?
Yeah,
I haven't. Though it's not long gone. I did hang on to it for sort of longer than necessary. I didn't use it anymore, but it was like I couldn't bear to get rid. But I have now. Someone called Ashley wrote in and Ashley Temple, hello Ashley, and said, earlier this month I purchased this dead man's Xantia on Facebook for 250 sheets. He'd owned it from new, perfect, and it was being sold by his grandson, textbook. Everything on the car works, including the hydraulic suspension and the 2-litre HDI engine. I'm sure you'll agree is an absolute peach. There was also a penknife in the ashtray, which I have left as a mark of respect.
Oh, this is just beautiful. Hang on a minute. You said a Xantia.
A Xantia. He sent some pictures.
For 250 quid. They were quite land yachty, weren't they, the Xantias? Were they quite big? Or was that the XM was bigger?
Yeah, you're thinking the XM. Xantia was the replacement for the BX, so medium-sized.
Yeah.
And it looks really tidy, as you'd expect. It's a jolly red colour.
That's just scrap value.
What I like about this is that Ashley sent not only a couple of exterior photos of the car, but some sort of detailed interior pics of all the kind of like hand scum and upholstery stainage as well, just to show what it's really like. And a close-up of the penknife. Lovely touch. Thank you very much, Ashley.
Did you just say hand scum?
Hand scum. You know how like plastics in car interiors get that sort of,
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Where you look like you could scrape it off with a scalpel, kind of. Well, you probably could, actually.
No, I know, because I think I've done it. I think I might have done some hand scum removal.
Yeah, you get it on laptops as well. Sort of the keys suddenly are a bit discoloured, and you go, hang on a minute, in fact, there's a lot of hand scum on here.
I'm actually looking at my computer mouse right in front of me. I think there's a little bit on the side.
Do you remember, it wasn't brown when you bought it?
Is that the sort of speeded up, less patient version of stalactites and stalagmites?
I suppose it could be.
Because it's detritus that's building up in layers, isn't it? Sediment. It's just dead skin.
Everything's dead skin. God, I was trying to explain dust to my kids the other day.
That's quite hard.
And I realised as I was saying it that it was like, this sounds revolting and it may freak them out in a way that I didn't expect. So I kind of rolled it back a little bit from, it's just all dead skin. You're basically breathing in dead skin. I didn't say that. I stopped short. I wanted to, where I was heading with all these messages is that there's one from Alistair Somerville, who says, I was compelled to share a story about contacting the previous owner of our Cayman. After months of searching, I found the right car. One owner, low mileage, early 987, full history from Porsche Centre, Tunbridge, in a great colour, cobalt blue. The trader was selling was very pleasant, but when pushed on the warranty, he was slightly evasive. He told me he was selling on behalf of his neighbour. It was her husband's car and she was recently widowed. The car wasn't being driven and he was asked to help. Wondering if it was all a ruse, the fact remained this was the car, and I paid all the monies. I always wanted to contact the widow and let her know that this car was in good hands. After 9 months of ownership, further Porsche Centre fettling, and 9,000 miles of adventures to Europe, we sent her a card including Polaroid-style snapshots of our voyages and assurance the car was cherished. Included in this email are photos of the note we sent her and what we got back. And it's fantastic. This lovely lady has written back, said, I was equally surprised and deeply moved reading your card and looking through your beautiful photographs. Ian would be over the moon knowing that such beautiful and kind people are having an amazing time creating wonderful memories, and that Herman, in inverted commas, is helping them to achieve this. It's fantastic.
See, I love that, because I know these things are just machines, but they do take you to places, obviously, and they do create memories. And I think there's a number of people out there, we've said before, that have a bit of a mechanical sympathy and care for their belongings, I suppose. So in a situation that's sensitive, like a bereavement, I think it would be great to know that the car, I mean, look, if I died and none of my family cared about my car, but they knew that I cared about my car, and they ended up selling or giving it to someone that was really into it, I'd be very overjoyed about that. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. The lady finishes her card to Alistair and his partner with, have fun, keep safe, and make the most of life. Take care of yourselves and one another. All the very best. I thought, it's just nice, isn't it? People are nice sometimes. Fair play. Alistair did a nice thing, and karma paid him back.
That's brilliant.
It's good, isn't it?
That's really good.
That's sort of where I...
Can we do a TV show about this, Rich? Because should we just do this as a TV show, like fairy car mothers, fairy I don't know what you'd call it. Well, you know what I mean. Like we make a little bit of a joke about deceased spec cars, but ultimately, actually, someone has spent a lot of time caring about that car, possibly garaging it, possibly servicing it to the mile. And then it can easily go from that to just being weighed in with one person making the wrong decision. And it has happened. It's a bit tragic, actually.
That's the problem. Do you know what, though? The only thing, and we've had quite a few more messages. I won't spend the whole thing reading out these, but thank you if you did send us one. But what did occur to me is that actually we got quite deep into people have been sending all sorts of cockroachy type cars and things, and I suddenly realised that I feel like I do have to introduce some quality control, in as much as just because a car is old and it has survived doesn't necessarily mean that it's admirable. Like, I do quite like those Toyotas just because I feel like they've done their job. They were engineered to be durable consumer products.
Yes.
And the durability has shone through. They were well made from the off, intelligently constructed with quality materials where it mattered, and that they shine through. It's like having a good quality dishwasher or something. You just go, well, fair play, thank you.
Well, it's also you expect exotic cars to be well preserved because of their nature, their original worth.
Yeah.
But if I was to go and buy an MG3 right now and then worship it, no one would really care, would they? No one would care whether I polished it every weekend or whether I didn't clean it for more than twice a year.
Yeah.
Talking of which, I'm desperately needing to clean all of my cars. I'm very far behind on the cleanliness factor.
Don't get me started.
Are you bad? Are you bad at the moment?
Yeah, well, I'm not as fastidious about keeping cars clean as you are. I'm a bit of a lazy ass, but it's reached a point where I thought because I don't have a driveway, so I have to go through a bit of a small faff to run hose out to the front of the house, and then if I want to get the jet washer out, cable, extension, all that. So it's doable. It's just that it's sort of not the work of a moment for various reasons. And I thought, well, I'll do that, and then I'll do a little rotation, and I'll do all three cars and get them all nice and spanky clean. Particularly because we went to the seaside in the Range Rover, and I'm a bit worried that it's got salty air on it. So
hang on, but you went there for 2 days or something?
Yeah, I know, but
did it rain?
No, but also no, it's beautiful weather, but it's sea air, isn't it? Because there's the thing about those 322 Range Rovers is that people forget, though they're aluminium skinned like most Land Rovers, they're actually a steel monocoque underneath, so they can go a bit rotty. So I thought I'd just give it a good.
No, it's always
hosing off. But the reason I haven't is partly because to do this would demand parking in front of my house, and people keep parking in front of my house who aren't me, and so I and then the space opened up just as I was heading out to go and do an errand this last weekend, and I thought, oh, brilliant! When I get back, I'll stick the car outside. I'll start my cleaning thing. I've got a bit of time. When I got back, Keith from up the road had parked his fucking Duke in my space.
Why don't you put a sign on outside your house going, would it be possible to swap this place with someone else's because I want to clean my car?
Do you know what? It never came down to it, but I always thought that because it felt like people were a bit more sort of, if given the choice between two spaces and one was out beside my house and one was across the street outside no one's house, people would go for the sort of no man's land space out of respect. And when I had the Jag, I never really had a problem with being able to park outside if I needed to charge it up. And I always thought I know the neighbours enough that I could always go to someone and go, look, would it be okay to do a little switch because I need to charge my car up? Never happened. But it feels a bit like, would you mind moving your car so I can wash mine? Is that unreasonable?
It's not unreasonable. I think you should just do the easiest option, which is to drive about 96 miles north of where you live and come and use my pressure washer and my cupboard full of cleansing lotions.
I do have a pressure washer.
You do have one? Oh, sweet. I didn't know if you had all the right accoutrements. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay,
I do.
Okay.
I do. That's it's just that it's not. Like I said, it's not the work of the moment to crack it out. It's just a bit of there's unfurling.
Yes.
There's unfurling, and there's finding the right extension lead, and there's a bit of
yes.
You've got to dig in and admit it's going to take you a bit of time.
Especially if there's baked on bird turds and things like that. You've got to be.
Because actually, the last time that I dug out the pressure washer to do a good old blast of shit off the car, it took so long that I'd forgotten I'd got a fucking Zoom call with 3 other people.
Oh no, I hate that. Oh.
So I took it on my phone.
Not while
I was trying to roll the hose up, because there were people I knew kind of well enough that I didn't have to look totally professional or whatever. But at the same time, they were like, "What are you doing?" And then I was trying to get the hose rolled up and wind up the extension lead. And in the end, someone went, "Could you just stay still for a bit? This is really disorientating with your going in and out of your shed and shit. It's all very lovely, but please stop." So I did.
I was expecting you to suddenly say, "Oh yeah, I just carried on pressure washing the car at very, very high volume whilst trying to maintain a Zoom call." Like, how on earth did you do that without fully pissing people off?
Yeah, that would have been amazing. I suppose you can mute yourself though, couldn't you?
I've been doing quite a lot of filming lately, just trying to crack on with the weekly YouTube videos, and the 2 main videographers that I use for all my material, great guys, Matty and Mark. I convinced Mark about a year ago, no, it was more than a year ago, about a year and a half ago, to buy a Nissan L Grand Japanese import.
I know, I've seen it.
Of course you've seen it, yeah, which is really good, right? And he likes
How's
it a lot.
Going?
It's been really good. He's actually he's thinking of selling it to buy an even more high spec version. He wants one, I think, in white.
What?
With the rider body kit, which is the rider body kit makes it look like a sort of fighting robot sort of thing. It's a very Japanese. So he's thinking of selling it and buying a different spec L Grand. And then I got my other videographer from the Late Break Show, Matty. Matty's got an Audi A3 that he's going to his wife's going to have, and they're going to sell the Audi A1, and he wants like more of a functional camera vehicle that he can put kit in and maybe do editing on the fly, and maybe have a few more camping adventures at the weekend. And he's been umming and ahhing about buying a van for ages. He likes the idea of T6s and T5 VW vans, but I said, well, there's no point because they're all selling for a minimum of 150 grand at the moment, and they're just a van. It's just stupid. Well, you know what I mean? And at the moment, people are just trying to wheel out really baggy Transit Connect Tornados that have done like 600,000 mini cab miles, and they're just awful. For double what they were 2 years ago. So I'm like, just don't. You're going to end up finding a horrific condition car. And he doesn't like buying cars. Cut to me, who does like buying cars, having a long think one evening. And he mentioned casually, went, I remember seeing a car once called a Honda Element. It was amazing.
Oh.
He said, and I said, right, you like the Honda Element? He went, yeah, I do. I think it's really cool. I said, well, it's not going to have the smallest engine in the world, but it's got quite a lot of functionality. Oh, there's a word for a press release.
Functionality.
And I started searching, and it turns out there's not that many. I think there's about, from what I can see, there's about 12 in the UK, and but they're not worth a great deal of money.
Are they not?
No, I think 5 gets you a very good one.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, I've driven a Honda Element.
Have you?
Yeah. Have you?
No, I've not. I've just looked at them and admired them when I was in America and Japan.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? Because it was sold in Japan, so you can get them in right-hand drive, unlike cars that you can't. I'm trying to think of an example. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But the point is that you get right-hand drive ones, but it felt to me quite basic, like it had been built down to a price for the US market. So because I think which is what happened, it was meant to be affordable for youngish people to go and throw surfboards and shit in. That was the sort of designer's vision in their minds.
Yeah.
And it felt like one of those cars that has been sort of ruthlessly costed down And that took the shine off a little bit because it looks...
Was it bad basic?
Great.
So it was bad basic or good basic?
It's just sort of a bit... And it was an auto, this one, so it's one of those really old school sort of 4-speed autos or something.
Yeah. Oh, don't tell him that. I've got him all fired up for elements.
Well, yeah, but
now.
I'm a car nerd. He's probably not that picky about this sort of stuff because he's not sitting there going, "Oh, they've decontented this." He's probably he'll either like it or he won't. That's the way that normal people treat cars.
He really likes. He really likes just having a kind of fairly relaxing drive. And I think he likes the idea of something that's a little bit more rugged, but not like ridiculous. And he doesn't want an estate car because I tried to push him down the estate car road, but I don't think he's going to go down there.
No, the elements are good. I mean, they're a cool looking thing, aren't they? I really like them. And
I like them. They should have brought them into the UK with an efficient engine, shouldn't they?
Well, the weird thing is as well, they're one of those cars where you can tell what it was designed for, which is America, because when you see one in the UK, they're a bit out of scale.
Yes.
They're like a sort of 11/10ths model of themselves. They're just a bit too big.
Yeah.
They don't look it in the pictures, but they are. In the context of the US, they look quite small, but when you see one over here, you go, oh, it is like the size of a Transit Connect or something, and you just sort of, you think it's not. You think it's a bit smaller than that.
Yeah.
That's how I found it anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, right. It's, yes. So, yeah. Do you know... Sorry, this is not strictly relevant. Well, it sort of is, because I think we touched on this in a previous podcast, or maybe a real-life conversation, how expensive Jeep Cherokees have become.
Oh, did you see the one that sold a couple of days ago?
No. Which one was
14?
that? Well, I'm just on Car and Classic, and there's one here, a 2001 Orvis, which is like I used to have.
Yeah.
In silver, 50,000 miles.
Yeah.
It's up for 17,995.
Get away from town.
I know. Below that, there's another Orvis from 2000, and it's a fucking diesel, which nobody wants.
No,
I mean, really, and that's up for 13 grand.
If that sells, the world is going round the wrong way.
They've gone absolutely giddy. Another one here, 97 Cherokee Limited 4-litre auto for 9 grand. The world's gone mad. I mean, they're great, but they're sort of great in and of themselves. They're old fashioned now, and I mean, there is one here. There's a 98 Cherokee 4-litre Limited for 6,250. I mean, once upon a time that would have been idiotic, but that actually starts to look reasonable in the context of all these other ones. There's another one. Now this does look very tidy. 99 Cherokee Orvis 4-litre, 75,000 miles for 14 grand.
Gosh.
But I mean,
do you know what's happened? That could be the fastest appreciating, not quite classic, that I've ever known. Because I swear to you, 18 months ago, those cars were still around the sort of 2, 3, 4 grand mark. Four for a really, really good one. In fact, a friend of mine, who I won't name him because he's going to sell it soon, he's got an Orvis, and he bought it just as a winter hack. Yeah, because he lives down some back lanes quite remotely, and I think he's just suddenly realised, oh my gosh, that car that I paid like 1,800 quid for is possibly worth 18 grand. It's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, it is a cool car, but it's not.
It's not that.
Is it riding on the coattails of the Defenders?
I don't know.
Although, I mean, the Jeep Wagoneer over here doesn't really have much presence compared to the States.
No,
I love a Woody Wagoneer.
Oh,
but a Wagoneer is a different car to an XJ Cherokee.
Live in session this evening, Woody Wagoneer.
Supported by XJ Cherokee.
One of my... I think I'm pronouncing that.
He's like Shaka Khan, but less than that.
No, one of my unrealised fantasy lives in which I live in the US, I have a Woody Wagoneer, though they've gone nutty, haven't they, price-wise? But it's like, what I always find mad about those Wagoneers is it's a 60s car, and they kept on making it into the 90s.
I know.
So you can find like 1991 Wagoneers for sale, and you go, what?
It's amazing, isn't it?
But I funny. Have you seen the new Wagoneer?
No, I don't think I have. Oh gosh,
it's shatting massive.
I feel like I've got FOMO already.
It came out, when they announced it, a few weeks ago. It sort of looks okay in itself, but then I saw a picture online of one parked nose to nose with an old Wagoneer, and first of all, it makes the old one look tiny, and it's not tiny, but it just shows how massive the new one is. And secondly, I'll try and find this picture and put it on the Patreon with the show notes, but the new one suddenly looks really lumpen and badly proportioned compared to the old one. You realise how sort of classic and simple the old one was. But, yeah, I'd love a Wagoneer if I lived in America. They're too big for here, I think. But
I would very much like to convert one to EV. I think it would be a cool car. There's plenty of chassis space for all of the bits and bobs. I think a wood-sided one would be great. They are a bit Breaking Bad, I know.
Yes, because Skylar had one.
She did. It was in very good nick. Yeah.
I think actually the one she had in that show was like a 90s one or a late 80s one.
Can't we go back to that era of manufacturers launching a car but knowing full well that it has to last at least, let's say, at least 10 years. It has to be on sale at least 10 years, maybe 15.
Well, we crave the new though, don't we? But Jeep were absolutely going against the flow in doing that, because I mean, American cars and that model year thing we've talked about before is that, you know, back in the day, US cars used to get a major facelift every year, didn't they?
Yes,
it's like it was insane. So it's not Jeep were going against the trend.
Yeah,
big Citroens always had huge lifespans, and Citroen's policy was, let's just make it so high tech that it won't get dated quickly, and then we can leave it in production for 20 years.
Did that ever pan out though?
Well, they did go bankrupt at this point, didn't they? So I'm going to say no.
As in, like, this is so technologically advanced. Oh gosh, we just launched it and it's all obsolete. Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. But back then, I suppose it was a bit easier. Now you can't. I mean, nothing dates cars like infotainment systems.
Yeah.
Do they?
No.
It's like,
well, and it's pointless, as I've probably mentioned before. I've definitely mentioned it in some of my videos. It's like the most future-proofed car is just a car with a dock in the dash, so a nice, a stylishly sculpted cabin that's spacious, etc., etc., and just have a frigging dock.
Put a dock in it. Put a dock in.
And people go, what about if people don't? You know, what about if an old person that's possibly going to die soon and then sell the car really cheaply buys it and doesn't have a smartphone, and they want to know how to navigate somewhere? I went, I'm sure the dealer could say, I'll tell you what, I'll go and get you a phone round the corner. The O2 shop's open. I'll get you a really good iPhone. It's 800 quid. So effectively, I'm knocking 800 quid off me selling you this brand new car that costs 35 grand. I'm sure they could probably do that. Do you not think?
If you kind of want to digitally navigate somewhere, if you've got that in your mind, you probably also do have a smartphone, whatever age you are.
Yeah.
If you don't have a smartphone, you probably also use a map, would be my suggestion. I'm quite
down with it. I'm a bit conscious that my kids, well, I mean, I showed them my maps and they think it's something from Pirates of the Caribbean. But
you do love a map, though, don't
you? I do like a map. I'm keen on a map. But I was thinking of actually just saying to them, right, if we're going to go from here to there in driving today, this is how you do it. But I'm wondering whether that's just such a dad thing to do, and they're going to laugh at me in about a decade and go, do you remember when you showed us how to use maps? And like, that's never going to be a skill that we will need. And I'll just have to sort of cower and go, yeah, Daddy thought it'd be quite useful. Daddy was wasting his time.
Yeah, probably.
What an absolute
I swear we're not going to do another episode where I'm just looking at cars for sale online. But
yeah, I was going to say,
looked up Jeep Wagoneers on Craigslist, Los Angeles, and there's a 1991 Wagoneer with the wood sides, restored by Wagon Master. $65,000.
Well, the first mistake you've made is you've searched in California.
Well,
I would never buy one from California.
What if you lived in California?
I'd buy one from Montana.
Well, oh yeah, but then it might be a bit rusty, wouldn't it? Because it's damper.
Buy one in Arizona, Nevada, Montana. Yeah. You buy one from the place where they're not that fashionable.
Yes.
Come on, man.
Yes.
That's why all of the best second-hand cars are always in Norfolk or North Wales or Cornwall, because people can't be asked to go and get them. But I like the journey. I was saying to my wife, I think the differences with driving and stuff with me and my wife is she likes the destination, I like the journey. I want to actually enjoy the 3 hours of getting there, because it's 3 hours of my life I'm not going to get back. Whereas she's just like, get there, get there, get there, get there, get there, get there, get there.
Do you know what? It's funny because cars that I've bought that have involved a little bit of a journey, I can remember the journeys. I could tell you how I got there, what the weather was like, everything like that.
Yeah.
Because the expectation on that journey, the excitement is so much
It's our thing, though, isn't it?
It's a special moment. It is our thing.
It's totally our thing. We've never done one together, though. That's what we need to do. We need to have that experience, and we need to go and fetch the vehicle. P.S. Did you see that car that I forwarded you last night?
Yes, we're not buying that.
Why not?
Because it's a fucking hearse.
I know.
For a start.
I know, but it's a straight six, and it's MOT till Christmas, and it's no money. Like, no money.
I was going to say, we haven't said what it is, but now I feel like we should almost not say, and listeners have to guess.
We're not.
It's a hearse with a straight six. Can you guess what it is?
It's a hearse with a straight six, and it's unbelievably cheap, and it's road legal.
Unbelievably cheap.
Honestly, it's scrap value. It's scrap value, and it's MOT till Christmas.
There's probably there's a lot of metal in a hearse, I suppose. Isn't there?
There's not actually. There's a lot of fiberglass on most of them.
Yeah. A lot of filler.
Yeah.
It's unusual in as much as the rear part, the windows over the coffin area, don't follow the tumble home, if you will.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
The side windows off the donor car.
Yeah.
They're much more vertical, and that gives it an unusual, slightly vanish look, but it's interesting. I mean, I bet that bit where the side windows tuck in and then there's a sort of flat bit, I bet that whistles like bugger at speed. But then it's a hearse.
It's a hearse.
When's it ever going at speed?
When you're going to be on it in a hearse. I love the term "on it." I think it's brilliant. On it. Well,
but we've talked about this before. Why, unless you're a goth, why would you want to drive around in a hearse?
I'm not sure. I mean, hey, hang on. Let's take it back to a previous conversation on this today's podcast. The prices of camper vans, motorhomes, and I don't know, activity vans with stupid bras and hibiscus flowers on have gone through the roof.
Yes.
So could we not slightly dehearse that? I could put a lovely barista spec coffee machine in that. I could put a side awning on it. I could put some 240 volt plugs in it with an inverter. We could have some good times.
Yeah.
And not in a seedy way.
Barista spec coffee machine. Just get a fucking kettle and a cafetiere.
Okay, well that's what I mean. I mean that's the camping version, isn't it?
I was out walking the dog and I saw a funeral procession,
right?
And the hearse and the
flower car
following mourner's limousine were based on current shape Ford Mondeo hybrids.
Hybrids?
They both had the hybrid badges on their front doors, which is actually quite good, I suppose, for low speed, because that'll just purr along on electric for a bit.
Yeah, that will.
I wonder, are they plug-in? I can't remember. I don't know.
I think they did do a FEV. I think they did.
Very respectful, silent. So quite a good idea. But then I was thinking, fuck me, when you're stretching one of those, you've got to be very careful. You're having to extend some of those orange cables. Because I bet the batteries are at the back, aren't they? They'll be under the boot
They'll be
floor.
under where the fuel tank, or there'll be a different fuel tank probably, yeah. Yeah, wow.
So that's a bit of a job, isn't it? I hope Coleman Milne, whoever it is, know what they're doing when they... But yeah, I think they were probably new or near.
I saw. Well, they're that end of the road for Mondeo, isn't it? Now it's and a lot of the ones I saw a quality hearse the other day, and it was an Australian Ford.
Oh yeah, they're Falcons.
Falcons, and I thought I bet that would be a good purchase as well. Another wise one to keep an eye out for. An Australian Falcon hearse / flower car. I'm down with that. I mean, I've just got to get this disease out of my head.
The disease of wanting to own a hearse?
Well, that's true deceased spec, isn't it? We talk about deceased spec car. I mean, that's sort of literal deceased spec.
Why? There's almost been a story arc in this show. Yes, from deceased spec to literal deceased spec.
Yeah.
What could be more than a hearse?
Yeah. But you don't die in hearse. That's why I don't find them creepy. Nobody dies in one.
No, but they're already dead when they get into it, depending on which part you get into. But if you're going in the back, you're brown bread, my friend, and that's...
Yes, you only travel in the back of a hearse if you've passed away. That's absolutely true.
I don't know. I mean, you're right. Obviously, by the time you're in there, you've been embalmed and shut in a wooden box.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, I'm like, I wouldn't buy an ambulance and turn it into an adventure camper. because people do die in ambulances. God, this is getting a bit macabre, isn't it?
That's true, isn't it?
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I think that's a darker vehicle to purchase than a hearse.
Yes, but it's also its purpose is to save life, isn't it? And ultimately, lots of people won't have died in their price precisely because the ambulance got them to them
that's true.
In time. So there's a sort of upbeat edge to it, whereas the hearse very much just on the down.
Yeah.
That if you're in the back, it's because something bad has happened, i.e. your heart has stopped.
Do you know something? It's just reminded me of these repurposed vehicles because of the prices of campers and motorhomes and stuff. A guy I know who races cars decided the prices of race transporters and stuff was just obscene. So he bought from an auction a mobile library, and he bought it remotely. He wasn't there, he bid it online. When he won it and went to go and pick it up, he presumed it was empty. He bought a mobile library absolutely full to the roof with everything from grotty novels to children's books, and he had no idea what to do. He said, I had about 20,000 books in this thing, and I had to get rid of them all because he converted it into a really neat race transporter. So the car went in the bottom and the sleeping quarters were at the top. It was really neat what he did, and on such a budget. Like, the money he spent on it compared to an equivalent motorhome was just amazing. But he was faced with this problem of having a huge amount of books. He said, I think he did something like 12 runs to a charity shop in a very large car, and then was like, right. And then, do you know what he did?
Go on.
He burnt them.
Oh, come on.
I know. I said the same thing. I said, that's awful. You can't do that. That's really awful.
No, you can't do that. That's what the Nazis did. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
just put them outside your house. People will take the interesting ones.
Actually, yeah, fill a phone booth with it in your local village.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, who could turn down the opportunity to read a free book that smells a bit pissy? I mean, come on.
Well, it might not. It might be fine. I'm trying to find, and I can't find. Someone sent us a message. It must be in the comments or something, where they bought a car in which someone had actually died and not been found for a bit, and the smell was unholy.
Oh my god!
If that was you, I'm sorry. I can't.
You can't sell that though, can you? Can you? I suppose.
Well, I think this guy bought it. I forget the story now. I apologise if that was you. It's as you could tell,
if it was a Koenigsegg and it was 15 grand, then maybe But
yeah, it was a Porsche, I think. I wish I could find it. I can't. Anyway, yes, that's what happened to someone.
Bloody hell.
Anyway, I'm still. I've got about 100 tabs open here now on my browser because I was just checking Mondeo. No plug-in hybrid, just a hybrid. But obviously, the battery is at the back,
of course.
But the motor is at the front. So there's a big cable. There's even a diagram, like a ghosted diagram of a car on the Ford website. So that's what Coleman Milne have to cut through to make the Mondeo
to make the hearse
hybrid hearse.
Hearse.
And this other hearse that we're not saying the name of.
I've got to get it out of my head because it's very, very, very. It's so tempting. It's so wonderfully, wonderfully tempting.
Is it though? Is this is all part of some great plan? You buy the hearse, crudely convert it into a fucking camper van because it's got a cafetiere in it, and then lure me to Santa Pod to watch some emeritus professor of philosophy in his top fuel dragster.
Yes, that's exactly
making a racket.
That's what I want. Yeah. I'll put hibiscus flowers on it. I'll probably put I'll put some alley cat alloys on it.
What?
I don't know, some alloys, and then it's exactly what I'm going to do. That's what
was that thing you said to me? You said to me last week, not when we were recording, but we were just talking. We were talking about slot mags. Didn't we agree they're the sleaziest type of wheel?
Wolfie slots.
Wolfie slots.
He's
live in session as well.
Wolfie slots. He's Alfie Noakes. I do think that slot mags are a fantastic wheel. I used to think,
but they are sleazy, aren't they? They're just.
They are a time capsule of a certain era. They are the 70s. There's no more 70s wheel, I don't
Yeah.
think, for a vehicle than a Wolf Race slot. And I would love it if Wolf Race were to start remanufacturing them in lots of different PCDs. And
Do they not?
no, they made like 18s or 19s, like a really giant one, but it didn't have. It didn't, from what I could see, it didn't quite have the dish. And
What's the point?
well, quite. And I had Wolf Race slots on my electric drag car. And one thing I would say about them, aside from the fact that it boldly says in the casting, "Made in England," which I loved, they are so light. You know, they're a genuine performance wheel. They were really, the quality of them was excellent. I had mine diamond machined and polished, and they were beautiful. People would always go, "Oh, loving the Wolf Race slots," and mine were, what were they? There were 12s on the front and 14s on the back. They look good.
If you hold a slot mag up to your nose, does it smell slightly of brute?
Of course it does.
I imagine it does.
It smells of someone that's just finished a cigarette and then they've thrown a bit of aftershave on, because in their head, no one will smell the tobacco. We've all met people like that, haven't we? And you get that heady mix of sort of... Of fire that's been hastily stamped out with.
Well, we'll get rid of the taint of this recently extinguished forest fire.
Yes,
by throwing some oranges on it.
I very, very much like this. I've actually looked at Chops' Suzuki Jimny and thought a good set of the right kind of dish. A good set of Wolf Race slots with white letter tiring would look really good on that car.
I'm not sure there's any car that wouldn't look better with a set of slot mags on it.
Could I buy a set for your Range Rover?
You know, I'm busy.
No, you're not. You're not. Oh, also, if I did
busy.
buy them, there would be a maximum of 16-inch diameter. Can you imagine how big the balloon tyres would have to be?
Oh, but the ride would be lovely.
It would. It would. Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting thought on which to bring this all to a close. But if you want to share any thoughts on anything that's been... I sound like one of those announcements on the TV. If you've been troubled by any of the issues in this podcast, please get in touch.
Call the helpline, which is smithandsniff at gmail.com. There isn't anyone on the other line to talk to, but...
Yeah, and we will do our best to not lose your email that contains something interesting. But do get in touch. We do read them all. I mean, I promise, absolutely. Well, I do. You keep losing the login to the thing.
No, I go... I'm sporadic. I'd say every other week I spend about 2 or 3 hours really wading through. So I do try and respond. We put our names after the response, so you know whether it's Richard or whether it's me.
Well, that's on the Patreon when we reply to comments, isn't it?
Oh, I just do it anyway.
If it's a private message on the Patreon or an email, I reply in your name, but make sure that there's lots of very offensive language in the message.
I do terrible spelling errors and then say thanks, Richard.
Oh my God!
And I do thanks with an X. And actually, to that end, can I just say thanks to everybody that subscribes to the Smith and Sniff Patreon and supports us this way. It's very kind of you. And it's really good of you. So thank you. And you do get some additional interaction and details, especially if we talk about secret cars on eBay that probably are very easy to find. Or we sometimes share photos, which sounds seedy, but it's not.
No, it's a sort of... You know, like on DVDs, you used to have extra bits after the movie. It's like that.
Would anyone ever watch
photos.
Would anyone ever watch a DVD with the commentary of the actors in as they're going through it? Go, oh, this is the bit where just before the cameras rolled, you let one go and I tripped over a scarf, and you just go, oh, I'm not sure I really want to know that. It's sort of, is that adding value?
Not interesting. No, we don't do that.
No.
Just pictures of shit. All right, anyway, before we go, I have 3 things to tell you. One, Jonny has a solo YouTube channel called The Late Break Show, which has many excellent things, including a very good review of the Hyundai Isotonic 5, which I enjoyed enormously. 2, I have various books out. One of them is called Medium-Sized Book of Boring Car Trivia, Volume 2, which, as you can guess, also has a prequel, and they're available exclusively on Amazon as paperbacks or ebooks. And what's the third thing I have to tell you? Oh, yeah, 3. The man who played Captain Hastings in the popular series Poirot also wrote the theme tune to Rainbow.
What?
Yeah. Hugh Fraser, the actor,
You're very good, you are.
Who played Captain Hastings, was also a flautist, and he co-wrote the Rainbow theme tune, the flute part.
It's actually quite a funky song.
He wrote that. So if you ever watch a rerun of Poirot on UK-shite +1, then just remember the man who plays Captain Hastings. He's the Rainbow theme tune man.
I'm thinking of the rude alternative lyrics to that song that we all learned at school.
Don't spoil it. And that's that. We will be back same time next week.
Always.
Until then, thank you ever so much for listening. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye. This is Smith and Sniff, in which two people talk about bobbins and cars and fucking bobbins and cars.